From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, y'all, it's Caroline Gant.
Hey, y'all, it's Austin Lowen.
And Tyler Blankenship.
And hey, I wanted to talk about a trend. Talk to y'all about a trend. It's been happening for a while, but I think it's picking up, and I'm digging it. I'm all about this trend, and this is ladies coming out to the garden center wearing their favorite plant shirt. Okay?
Yeah. Well, and guys, too. I see a lot of guys coming out.
You're right.
Everybody's wearing them.
It is, but it is so funny. All these gardening shirts are getting funnier and funnier.
They are getting good. We have a few here, but I've seen some real good ones come in.
It's so good. It's just like, I'm going to the garden center today. I'm putting on my gardening shirt. It's hilarious.
My plant shirt.
And I'm coming out. And while I'm talking about this makes me realize or remember our friend Essence, who came out Sunday. And Essence is a listener of this podcast. I hope she's listening right now. She was a breath of fresh air on Sunday. Mm-hmm. She was happy to find us both, and she had a full landscape, honestly, blank slate. Okay. So I helped her out. She was probably here for about an hour at least. Ended up with some really cool plants.
Essence, you got some really cool plants.
You do. And your husband was really nice, walking around together out there in Portland, Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't know y'all are in Portland.
Yeah, they drove a pretty good ways to get here.
I really like Portland. It's pretty out there.
But Essence, you had a lot of really nice things to say about us, and we appreciate that. And you were, like I said, just great to work with. You were fun, and your shirt was hilarious. It said "Hoeing ain't easy."
It was a good one.
I'm all about that. So
that's sure true.
What a good shirt. Yes. Yeah. So thanks for being cool, and thanks for coming and seeing us. We really love it whenever you come out and chat with us, because we're actual humans, you know? We actually work here.
We do work here. Yeah. Do you say barely?
Barely.
We barely work here?
No, on Sundays,
we work pretty hard.
I totally work here.
Yeah. On Sundays, though, we barely work here. We're just out to chit-chat.
That's Austin's thing. I don't work on Sundays.
That's right. No, I'm just
here for the people. He will not lift a finger.
Nope.
He will open that mouth. But he will not.
He will lift a tongue.
Yeah, he will.
I ain't lifting no plants.
But Essence, if you can, send us some photos when you get those planted. And our listeners, if you ever want to send us photos, gardeninginsideout@gmail.com is where you can get a hold of us.
Yes, please do.
We love to see garden photos. Or trouble photos.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't like the trouble photos as much as the pretty ones.
I know Josh told everybody to send headshots so we could see what you all looked like.
Oh, you haven't done that yet?
Look them up on Facebook.
I went and got my headshots last week. I didn't know you hadn't done that yet.
Well, that's a different headshot. I was asking you for a headshot for our website, mister.
Yeah.
Did you go to Olin Mills?
Yeah, I went there. Got it done.
I wanted us to do a group photo session, but I think getting us all together in one room that's not Saturday at 8 a.m. will be very difficult.
It might be, yeah. But anyway, speaking of pictures, we saw a bunch of pictures of y'all's lovely landscapes yesterday. Tyler, man.
Tyler's done some cleaning and painting.
You went clean, buddy. That front porch is money. Tell him what you put in it.
Oh, man. You put me on the spot.
Yeah,
you said,
Sims Beauty Oak Leaf Hydrangea.
Cool.
A couple of hellebores. Heuchera, some coral bells. I know Southern Comfort was one. Caramel was another. And then another like green one. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Okay.
And man, I'm so happy. Oh, also.
That makes me happy.
Sting Arborvitae.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how that one's going to do. It's supposed to be extremely skinny, like 1.5 to 2 feet wide, 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just this spike.
That's a slender boy.
I know. And I planted it maybe 2-3 feet away from my foundation.
Nice.
Beautiful.
So I left a little bit of room just in case it got ornery and got wider.
It might grow into your house and turn brown.
Yeah. No,
that won't happen with that one.
It's going to be great.
It's morning sun, Caroline. It's going to be easy breezy.
Wait, I didn't say anything bad.
You said burn.
No, when people plant them on their houses, they grow into the house, and then the side that's touching the house
they get shaded out.
Turns
yes,
brown.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's probably going to happen.
No,
Maybe.
I don't think so, because it stays slender.
I love the look of the new growth on Sting, though. Like in the spring, it was so pretty. It just looked like all the fringes of the conifer needles were so like green and highlighted. It was nice.
And when conifers flush, it really is their time to shine.
Oh, there's nothing like it.
No.
Every year that my cobra flushes,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty fantastic. Now, your picture of your stuff yesterday, you sent some Deutzia pics. Tell these people about Deutzia.
Y'all, okay, for years, Austin was like, Caroline, you need some Deutzia in that bed. And I was like, what is that? I didn't know what that was when I first started working here. And I saw it on the lot, and I was like, whatever. I would see it bloom. And, a lot of things, when they bloom, they don't last that long. But I did get 2 when we had our big sale for very cheap. Put them in the ground. Y'all, I love this shrub. It's been blooming for at least 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's like this beautiful lilac color, this cluster of blooms that forms this like round little pom-pom. And it looks great. So I have it layered with lilac, limelight hydrangeas, and deutzia. So I always have something blooming in the, growing season when things are blooming.
Mm-hmm. It was a lovely picture. You cleaned it up with your weed eater pretty good. I saw that.
Oh, I went to town weed eating yesterday. And I have a row of lavender in front of some switchgrass that's over in that bed, and that's about to be in full bloom.
I saw that lavender. That thing is beefy. I saw some other lavender around town not too long ago that's like nice this year, which is weird because we've been really, really wet. So you got to find that right spot for lavender, because if you don't, it'll rot out on you. But if you find a good spot, it's pretty.
All my lavender is up high, either in a pot or in like a bed that I raised up off the ground. Not like a raised bed, but I use like old fallen big branches, logs, if you will.
Nice.
Because then the mushrooms grow on them, and it looks very magical.
Well, that's cute.
Isn't it?
I like that.
Adorable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of, I didn't tell y'all. I weed eated my first chicken the other day.
What?
What?
Y'all went silent. I love it. I didn't actually weed eat a chicken. I almost weed eated a chicken.
Oh my God. Listeners,
But-
you could not see my face. I don't know what Tyler
You
looked
went
like,
blank.
but I was like,
I was still trying to process it.
I've been waiting to hit y'all with that for like 3 days now. And just to hear y'all's reaction to that, you're like,
or
Kev-
silence.
Kev's weed eating
Stunned
chickens now.
silence.
I was like, oh my God.
So I'll tell you the story. I was weed eating around the chicken coop the other day, which was long overdue. There was there's weeds almost as tall as me out there around the chicken coop or whatever. So I was going to town on it. And it got to be kind of roosting time at night. It was getting dark, and I could barely see anymore, but I wanted to get some more done. And there's this crazy box elder tree that's laid over top of my chicken coop. Okay.
I hate box elder.
That plant's horrible.
Yeah.
That's technically a maple tree, which is weird, but
Grows
it's an
everywhere.
awful, awful tree. Breaks real easy. Mine, I told y'all last year, I think it laid over the chicken coop. It actually didn't uproot or anything, so it's still plenty alive. But it's sending shoots from the main core of the plant, if you will, all over the place. Well, I kind of forgot or just didn't even think about it. I was just in my own weed eating zone, and the chickens were starting to roost, and they like to roost in that tree. And I just rammed it up, these leaves on this box elder tree to try to get a little of it knocked back. And I think I clipped a little wing on the back of the chicken, and he went insane. I didn't actually clip it. I don't think. I mean, at least I'm pretty sure I didn't. The chicken's fine, people. It's great. It's living its best life.
Scared of the weed.
I think it made the craziest noise. Scared me to death because it's massive bird.
Did you throw the weed eater?
No, negative. You never throw your weed eater.
I would.
No.
If I got scared, that'd be the first thing to go.
It's freaked me out so much. And hilarious enough is that my wife was not outside at all until that moment. She came out because it was getting kind of dark. I think she was kind of looking to see what I was doing. And she saw me weed eat the chicken, and she got mad at me.
Oh, I was about to say, I bet she was livid.
Yeah.
She was. She was like, "Oh my God, they roost up in there."
You can't be weed eating those chickens.
I know. Like I said, I don't think I actually clipped the chicken.
You were in the zone, though.
I was in the zone. See, I
Listen.
couldn't back it off.
I get in the zone and I accidentally chop down plants,
So
not
were you
chickens.
were you just like, I hate box elder?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, that tree provides shade, and they roost in that tree. They provide some shade during the summer, so like I'm leaving it. It doesn't look great. Like it's for the chickens. I'm doing this for the chickens. Okay.
You're a great chicken dad.
Yeah. See, as I'm weeding
A
them out the
wonderful
trees.
chicken dad.
They roost in there like overnight. They just in the tree.
In the tree amongst the leaves. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, this chicken was hidden in the leaves. I could not see it. I would not have
So
done
do
this on
they
purpose.
just like drop
just
the
scared the
eggs and
little
they're
buddy.
just on the ground in the morning when they're done?
No. They'll lay eggs anywhere. You'll find eggs all over the place. Our chickens are as free range as can be. They're out in the yard.
Sounds like it.
Oh man, they follow me when I mow the grass, and they can't wait to see what bugs I'm gonna kick out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's cute.
Me and the chickens mow together.
You're the Jackins. You're
One
best
of them a
friends.
different way.
One of them's on my lap, the other one's follow behind. We switch them out. But no, I've really
I
been.
didn't know you this whole time you've been mowing your grass with a chicken in your lap. Come on, man.
Oh,
You've been
that's so
holding out
funny.
on
Oh,
us.
Yeah.
This is the best.
Yeah, I'll get some video for you. But anyway, that was my chicken experience. I just wanted to weed eating chicken experience. But anyway, I cleaned it all up. It looks nice. I love whenever I weed eat. I did not get to weed eat yesterday because it rained so stupid much. But
so when did you weed eat? When did this happen?
This was after work the other night. Saturday night?
Saturday? Wow.
Yeah, Saturday
You
night.
held this from us for so long.
I told y'all. I've been waiting to tell y'all.
You saw me for a whole shift.
Uh-huh. I did not open this mouth of mine.
You've been saving it for our listeners.
Yeah.
Y'all should feel honored right now because
that's right. We're all the first to this information.
This guy is the gossip queen of this place, Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and probably all of Cheatham County, which is where he lives.
Oh, my
So
God.
the fact that he was able to hold that,
Caroline,
keep that to himself.
No, that's my sister.
Shocking.
My sister's got the mouth of Cheatham.
Now you're just gossiping.
But I'm the mouth of the garden center. You ain't wrong. All right. I love garden center gossip. Let's talk about that a minute because that's fun. It's like a big garden center. We got different departments, annuals, perennials, trees, whatever. Customers are always in here. We can get a little gossipy.
Can we?
Yeah. I mean, this guy does.
You can.
You know all about it. Whenever I find out some gossip, I usually come to y'all first.
You do. That is true.
Garden center gossip. Y'all get on board.
Y'all get on board with the garden. I can't even say
the garden
it.
center gossip.
Garden center gossip. That's too hard to say.
All right. There you go.
There
Anyway.
it is. Yeah, but back to Dutsia.
Back to Dutsia. What a great shrub. It really is a good shrub.
I think the one I have is called raspberry something. Sunday? Maybe raspberry Sunday?
Raspberry something. Yeah, because it does have that pink in it. You know, a lot of times Dutsia is just that pure, crisp white, and that's a beautiful look too. But yeah, Dutsia is an underused shrub, I'm telling you.
Mine is a pink color.
And by your picture, I can really tell it's pretty.
It's amazing. And I accidentally weed whacked a branch off of it. Oops.
Caroline.
But now I put that in a vase.
That's why I haven't
on
even
my
weed
dining
eated
room
so
table,
far.
and it looks amazing.
That is good.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about your
Raspberry
shrubs,
Sunday.
people, with your cut flower arrangements, okay? Mm-hmm. Woody stems and shrubs, like a lot of those can hold up pretty nice in a vase, and they go good with other flower power and foliage.
They do. On the show this past Saturday, we do like a photo segment, but you probably won't hear much of that on this podcast since this is all audio. But we did get some photos, some lovely photos from one of our viewers, Joyce. So I will get those up on our Instagram so y'all can take a look. But she had a couple different kinds. Mm-hmm. I can't stop looking at you thinking about that chicken.
I can't help it. It happened, all right? Things happen.
Also watching the chicken scare you.
Yeah, it scared me. Yeah, that was
Mutual.
Mm-hmm. That was fun. Anyway, hey, quick fire hydrangea tree I've got at the house. It's loaded with buds this year, and your boy is happy.
Was last year not a good show?
It was great too, Tyler.
Okay.
But he's just happy
like,
this year.
I'm just excited. Like I'm thinking, like, it's never gonna happen this year. But
I feel like that's one. There's a couple, or most hydrangeas, or at least panicle hydrangeas, just are kind of foolproof.
Yes,
They will always bloom.
They will always bloom for the most part.
Anywhere, it seems like.
It seems like I don't know about deep heavy shade, but
probably
honestly,
not
they
that.
probably still would at least a little
But
bit.
like some things you have to work for them to get them to bloom.
True.
But hydrangeas, for the most part.
Yeah, your
now I've got
panicle.
some finicky hydrangeas.
Yeah. No, the biggest problem with panicle hydrangeas by far is the flop of the blooms. If the blooms are super huge, which we love huge blooms, but we hate the flop. Okay, we can't have
Sometimes
that.
I like the flop.
No, it's
I'm
gross.
not mad at it. It looks like
No.
it's weeping.
I can't stand that.
Magical.
No, I can't stand that look. Not on panicle hydrangeas. I can get on board with it with some things, like Rose of Sharon. Let's throw that plant
Rose
out
of
there.
Sharon. Yeah.
Sometimes Rose of Sharon.
Austin said it wrong once.
Yeah, thanks for
And I'll
bringing that
never
back up.
forget it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll never let anyone else forget it as well. So anyway, Rose of Sharon.
See?
Yeah, sometimes its stems get a little bit weak, so like the blooms flop. And like honestly, that looks like a cascading shrub a little bit. And I'm not as mad at that.
Really? I
But
feel
no.
like that's the same thing.
It's not the same thing, Caroline, because when limelight blooms, it like touches
Well.
the ground and it looks like the stems are about to snap in half. It's gross.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
You're making a little home for critters. Make it a
Oh,
tent.
that again.
Make it a tent. That's what you're doing.
When my hydrangeas in bloom, I don't want no homes nor critters. I
Nor-
don't want no critters nor in homes.
What about a
anywhere near 'em.
chicken? What about a chicken?
No, a
What do
chicken
you
ain't
think?
allowed in the
You make a little
hydrangea.
chicken house?
No, chickens
That'd be cute.
Chickens get to live in the worst tree in the yard, not the
The
prettiest.
box elder.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about box elder for a second.
Okay, why not?
No.
If you want to talk about a terrible tree, you have one box elder, you don't. You have 5 million box elder everywhere.
You're right. It's awful. It's the weakest wood I have ever seen. Even on live wood, it'll just snap on you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just said, they're weed trees.
They grow so fast. Listen, y'all, next to my barn, I let it get a little out of hand. And now it's all these giant box elders that keep reseeding and throwing seed everywhere. And they grew so fast.
Yeah.
It was like I took a nap and then I opened them and I had like mature box elders that are taller than my barn.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. That's a horrible tree.
And I bought a chainsaw, but I'm too scared to use it.
Yeah, we'll give you a tutorial.
Everyone should be afraid of them.
Yeah. You do need to be careful with a chainsaw.
I've never used one before. I'm not about to go out there all confident.
Keep all hands and feet away from the chainsaw.
Yes.
Ben Trest, one of the landscape specialists here at the nursery, has a pair of chaps that he wears when he's chainsawing.
Chainsaw chaps.
Ben would.
I know Austin would close his eyes and pinch his forehead when I said that, and I was right.
I love it when people optimize for their jobs, you know?
I think, yeah, I would. I'm going to borrow his chaps.
Get the gear, put it to work for you. Guess what? You're safer and you look like a professional. Good guy.
You're ready to go. A professional good guy.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, we talked about box elders enough.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. Tyler, you had a predicament earlier you were going to bring up. What was it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, listen up, everybody. So it's really hard to estimate space in any kind. Like, imagine you just wiped out all your bushes and all your everything, and you're looking at a plot of dirt, and you're trying to envision maybe 4 or 5 different types of plants that are going in the same area all at once.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit heady. It's really hard to think about. And even when I was planting my front bed plants, you know, I'm looking at the tag. I'm planting a full size oak leaf hydrangea. That's 8 by 8 potentially.
Yeah,
like way down the line. But you know, I'm planting these 2 little hellebore about 2 feet out from it on either side. You know, eventually they might get engulfed. But then those hellebore are also going to get 2 foot by 3 foot when they get really mature. And so I'm like, well, then that might shade that out. You know, what's going to happen? What are these interactions going to be like? Same thing with the heuchera, you know? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I haven't planted everything in that bed yet because I do want to see what the space fill is going to be like.
Sure. And I totally get that predicament. It can be daunting. And, you know, Essence with her husband came out on Sunday and she had the same thing. She had a blank slate at her house. So massive beds to fill, you know. And I'm with you on that. Now, the one tip that I told her that I typically tell everybody with a blank slate is always start big, work yourself small. Okay, so get those beefy things in first. Figure out where you're putting your trees. Figure out where you're putting that big 8 by 8, and then go from there. And then also, Tyler, you got to you know that there's maintenance involved. So
of course,
pruning can be something that we do. Now, you know, can a oak leaf hydrangea get that big? It certainly can. But do you have to let it get big towards your hellebore? No, you can like keep that at bay even during the growing season. You know, so I'm a big fan of like putting it in a little bit tight. You know, more so
You're
to make it look full.
Planter.
I am, but I do like to. I mean, I can prune stuff off of each other, but you're not wrong, Tyler. That is a hard thing.
Well, you know, it's all planted right now, and everything is so individual.
Yes,
it will take 1 or 2 seasons to even begin to see any kind of like fill in going on here. So then the mental game comes in where you're like, did I plant them close enough? You know, should I have gone closer? But you know, I guess that's more important if you were planting, say, a privacy hedge where you want things to grow together and fast. But with this, it's just kind of like, you know, we'll kind of fudge this and see where it gets to.
Sure.
And like, I don't mind moving things because there's a lot of perennials in there. I could dig them up and move them. But it's just, you know, rather than, because I'm the type of person who thinks about things longer than the actual action of putting them in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am, admittedly.
Yeah.
And, but that can lead to a lot of frustration and hesitation. And for example, this is also a good time of year to get things in, but it's quickly getting hot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you got to just make your move, you know?
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you just kind of feel it. Yeah, if you have to move it later, that's fine. Yeah, and Tyler, I think a way that you could be helpful with because you do have to kind of in some ways space out things to get ready if you want it to be there for a long time. That needs that space to swell and get big and nice, and you don't want it overcrowding and all that stuff. Like you do need to think about that a little bit. So in the meantime, when you're waiting for those things to fill in and get bigger, that's where we go extra small, and that's where annuals go. And that's how we slam color in around those plants that are still swelling and getting bigger before they actually fill. Now, that's more money. I get it. I mean, Annuals, they're fairly cheap.
But it gives you more variety.
Yeah.
You can switch stuff up. And
most definitely. That's what I love about annuals. You can grow a different one every single year. I mean, the thing is, we're going to spend money in the spring. I don't care who you are. Even non-gardeners are going to spend some money in the spring.
Money.
But all these people that are listening to this podcast anyway are certainly gardeners.
We know y'all have all been at the garden center this week, and you spent at least $100.
I mean, it happens all the time. You're going to spend a lot of money in the spring anyway. So why not, fill in some of those holes with some annuals? It's really, really helpful for filling space.
Petunias, that's what I used.
Yeah. Oh, how's your apple blossoms doing? Them apple blossom jeans?
They're doing good. Now, I was looking at them, my apple blossom jeans. They're doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. I was looking at them, and they're doing good. They're just sitting. They haven't really taken off. It hasn't gotten that warm. But there is something that I want to put there, and you're going to hate it.
Oh, God.
Can you guess?
Oh, so wait, hold on. Let's preface. You're wanting to dig up the best petunia on the market and put something in there that I'm going to hate. Okay, so, okay. No, I don't even want to guess, but go ahead.
You saw it, and you...
oh, gosh. You're putting fescue, blue fescue in for petunias. What are you going to do with the petunias? You going to throw them away?
So, I had planted 2 on either side of my sidewalk. While I realized that as we get into the summer here with blue fescue, it might not be great. I don't know. But right now it's latched in and they look amazing. And I said, why not plant 4 more? You can't plant one on either side. It just looks weird. I needed multiple plantings. I got other spots I can stick the petunias. I've got some snapdragons that are looking beautiful and they're blooming, but they're not going to be blooming all summer. So oh my gosh, he can't even handle it.
Oh, he's so sad.
So
I'm not throwing them away.
So instead of letting them stay in the spot where you planted them so they can keep getting bigger and better and more beautiful by the summertime, you're going to put in a plant, replace them with a plant that's going to look awful come dead summer. And
what if it doesn't? It looks amazing right now.
We'll see. Make sure to update us on that.
Okay, you give me a good thing, and I'll keep them there. You convince me.
Give you a good thing, and you'll keep them there? You got a good thing with the apple blossom jeans petunia. They're not apple blossom jeans. They're just apple blossom petunia. But that was the recommendation I originally gave to you, Caroline, and you said, okay, I'm going to do it. And you did it.
Wait, hold on.
And now you're like, no, I'm going to go with a horrible plant instead of your petunias.
I looked at those. I found those. I found them.
We were looking together, and I was like, yes, that's the best petunia.
That's true. And then you said, yes,
the
Caroline,
best bedding petunia, not the best wave petunia. That's the best bedding petunia. It's my favorite.
You did talk me into it.
So, yeah, let's just
I'm not going to not grow them.
You're going to set them back a whole month because you're digging them up and putting them in a different spot. And they got to sit there and latch in again. Or your little blue fescue.
Will you be less upset if I just plant the blue fescue somewhere else?
Yes. I would be way less upset.
Okay. All right. For the sake of your mentality, for your mental health.
Hey, it's your garden, your yard.
I'm going to leave the apple blossoms in the ground, even though it looks off and uneven.
Hey, you do you. Like I said, it's your yard.
All of a sudden, you do you.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you're not like, Caroline.
I'm going to scold you at first, but then I'm going to say, yes, you can do you. It is your yard. You bought them.
But then you put in your fescue.
You hate it so much.
What if you prove it, though? If you prove it to him, you earn his respect.
Oh, if you prove me wrong, I don't know, I'll buy you like a 4-pack of pansies in the fall.
It's not worth it. But I do have it in a spot that's full all-day sun, which is good for the petunias, maybe not so good for the blue fescue. So I'm going to try the other blue fescues that I got in a more shady spot. Austin.
You do you.
Listen, this is how we can talk about plants and what they do here in Middle Tennessee.
I know.
By planting stuff that maybe don't do great, but there's only one way for me to actually know is to grow it.
You got to find out for yourself.
To grow 6 of them.
I give you, that is actually an excellent point that you made. I give you that. This show, I think, really lets people know that we do it just the same as y'all would. We have to try it and see as well. Now, have we grown 1 million plants in our careers? Yes, we have. We know what some of them do, but not in every single spot, every single scenario, every single light requirement, water, whatever. Even if we've grown the same plant 10 different times, they can be different in where you put them. So like what Caroline just said is what y'all got to do, and that is trial and experiment and just have fun with gardening and don't, you can be mad like me,
like you,
whenever things don't work out, but don't be actually mad. Just be fake mad like me.
Just be fun mad.
Yeah, be fun mad.
Just be fun mad.
Dramatic.
Just be mad.
Yes, be dramatic. Okay, yeah, I'm all about that.
Melodramatic.
Yes, but don't actually, there's no reason to ever be actually mad when you're at a garden center or at home gardening, okay?
That's true.
It's so true. When we have some guests, 99% of our guests are super sweet here and they just like plants and they want to be here. But every once in a while, there's people that is mad about some sort of plant or some sort of something. And I'm like, mad is not the way to be when we're talking about plants.
No.
Okay? It's not. There's always something worse than you plants in the world.
I mean,
okay?
they can be a little frustrating.
Can be frustrating. I'll give you that sometimes. But we're talking about plants, y'all. Okay? And we love them. They give us beauty.
They do.
Let's embrace them.
I love my plants. And you know what, Austin?
Speaking about.
For you, I'm going to plant the blue fescue in a different spot for sure. I'm going to leave my apple blossom jeans where they are. And I'll see which spot the fescue does better, or maybe it won't do good anywhere.
Okay. Well,
or maybe I should return them.
Maybe so. Either way.
Nah, you'll find a place.
Either way,
I'll find a place.
You're experimenting, and we love it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, do we need to get rolling on this week's show?
Is it time?
Yes.
Oh,
We've been talking a while, I feel like.
We have been.
That's a good thing.
Well, let's get into it. Y'all, everybody was here. The three of us, Josh Carey and David Bates, all present and accounted for. So let's give you a listen.
And Grandma's tuned in because there was a lot of grandma talk.
Yes, there was. Grandma Kev over here got into it.
Now, Caroline and Austin, I know we talked just a little bit to give you a chance to talk about whatever is pressing on you. And then we've got, I'm certain, questions coming up.
We do have a few.
One thing quickly before we move away from that is to want to give a big shout out to Miriam Mims for being on last week.
Where's
Thank you,
Miriam?
Miriam. We thoroughly enjoyed it. The what it did to us last week was that we made time for her and for the Hillsborough Hillsborough West End garden tour, which I understand was quite successful. I think we made no insignificant contribution to the attendance of that. We're grateful to be able to provide that for the great neighborhood and good folks. But we gave a significant amount of time and bandwidth because they're important people to us.
That's right.
Hey,
if you went, chime in, tell us you went.
Yeah, Ed and Risha emailed us and said they got to meet Miriam and they did go to the garden tour.
Risha.
So because of that, we didn't get to as near as many questions last week as we normally would. So we're going to try to rectify that to the best of our ability. So that's enough out of me.
All right.
Take it away, Caroline.
Let's go ahead and go into questions. We're going to start with an email that we got from a listener titled Torn Between Two Trees.
Go.
I have a new hawthorn tree and a serviceberry tree that both appear to be infected with cedar rust. I just got distracted by this new little feature we have.
That's cool.
Wow, Tyler.
I know, right?
In the
I'm
same
full of
acre
surprises.
of yard, I have a mature cedar tree and two eastern red cedars. If I remove the cedars, will the rust go away eventually, or is there another way to get rid of the rust and keep all the trees? From Bryce.
Hawthorn and a serviceberry.
On a serviceberry.
Which both trees are susceptible to cedar apple rust.
Wow.
Okay, and we see it here. Obviously, you see it around town, and it is because of the cedar trees. Okay, technically junipers. They're kind of it's a host between the two. It's like a symbiotic relationship, if you will, for this pathogen. Now, this pathogen is not a killer of plants usually, especially hawthorn and serviceberry. It will affect the fruit of serviceberry, and that's what we're after. So, if you want to, getting rid of the juniper for sure is going to be your first mode of action. I mean,
Hard to do.
It's hard to do. They're and there's. They can be, long way away, and you can still see that pathogen travel over to your trees. So, but if they are close to your trees, if you can remove them, then remove the trees, and you'll, kind of prevent that from happening a little bit. But preventative sprays with fungicides are what you're going to have to do to keep this disease at bay. And now that you've got it, there's nothing you can really do at this point besides spray to prevent it from getting on new leaves, and that's going to be with a fungicide. Also, pruning of individual leaves is it's fun.
I can't handle it, Tyler. You should
I know. I like
I'm
it.
laughing so hard over here.
I like it. But yeah, sorry that your trees have a little bit of that. Y'all, it's not going to kill your plant, though, okay? For this season, you may as well just kind of live with it. The leaves are going to drop over the winter, and then if you don't do anything, you're going to see it happen again next spring. But
Doesn't
there
it
are
skip
preventative
back
sprays.
and forth, though?
Yeah, it does. It'll go back to a juniper, and then you'll see
Yeah.
that gelatinous, orange, gross stuff.
That's what's really interesting is how different the pathogen expresses itself from one type of plant to the other. On the apple trees and everything that's in the malus-related family, it looks like these splotches on the leaves and it affects the fruit. But then on the conifers, on the junipers that it gets on, or what we call cedar trees around here, it is that juicy glob that's on there that it makes you, what is this? So those are in fact the same pathogen. It just they look very different depending on which host they're on, and they do tend to alternate back and forth. You may get them a lot on the cedar trees one year, and then the alternating year you may see a lot of it on apple trees and other things like that.
Because it's I would say impossible to do, but spraying a big cedar tree, you go broke trying to get fungicide on.
Well, that's you don't really spray the cedar. I mean, that's the one that we don't care so much about. Right. But it doesn't really affect the cedar end of it all that much. Right. Now, when you do see that big orange gelatinous thing that's on your cedar tree, that's the reproductive parts of. That's where the spores are going to happen. So if you want to, help your tree out, if you can reach it anyway, go there and get like a plastic bag or something and take it over that and then prune it off of that.
Sounds kind of gross.
It is kind of gross.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to have to mow around all these cedar trees. My dad
used to whack you in the face?
Yeah, a lot of times I get that orange jelly on my arm as I was driving by it.
And I bet you went, ugh.
I did. Went, ugh. Gross.
Ew. Well.
But anyway, it's kind of part of it around here.
Yeah.
It just is.
Tennessee gardening. Speaking of Tennessee gardening, let's talk loropetalum in Tennessee.
Okay.
We have a question that said, I have loropetalums that did not survive the winter. Should I plant new ones or try something else?
Mine are glorious.
I would say
oh, well, Josh.
My recommendation would be to try something else. Now, loropetalums are an interesting plant, and they do some things that nothing else quite does, and therein lies the interest. But anytime we have a reasonably harsh winter, and some of it is cultivar. There are some cultivars that seem to do a little better in the winter hardiness category than others, but they are not the hardest plant, and they're never going to be. And so if you want to be able to make the best of your gardening efforts in dollars, it might be something you want to consider a different choice.
Yeah, mine I thought I'd lost them all in the Christmas freeze several years ago. They came back bigger, better, and stronger.
Really?
Yeah, they all the way to the ground.
But, and that's a good point, Josh, because a lot of people overreact when it comes to death of plants and things that they interpret as being dead, when in fact it's just been killed back to the ground. And
right.
So the root systems are generally not affected by it. So if you can be patient and wait until, towards the end of the month, you may begin to see some leaves start to push out at the base. Fig trees are one of the most prime examples of that. They're hardy here, but they also can get killed back to the ground level. So just wait. If you see anything green coming at all, just prune all the dead off and apply some patience and fertilizer. And you'll have a good recovery, generally speaking. So kind of a judgment call there.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not too many plants that look like loropetalum.
No.
I mean, I understand why people like it. I mean, it's got purple foliage for the most
little
part.
Blooms are like a little burst. They're crazy.
They're beautiful. I mean, honestly, when they flush, they're really pretty. But like David said, you've got to be patient with these plants, and you've got to remember that and know that you're gonna, over the past 3 winters at least, you have seen dieback on loropetalum, like you said, David. Like they're not dead. They certainly look awful over the wintertime, okay, and you're gonna see that. But if you go in there and prune in the early spring, a lot of times you see that flush. And like you said, Josh, they're almost bigger and better. You know, if you give them that harsh kind of cutback and then wait a little while, they're going to flush and they're going to be pretty.
Wonderful. Sorry.
There you go.
I was reading through an email. Ended right there. All right. Well, let's move on. Sweet Bay Magnolia.
Okay.
It's bending. How do they solve this?
It's bending.
Yeah.
Why is it bending?
That's all I got. Sweet Bay Magnolias are bending.
They're a little top
heavy.
How
do I solve this?
I guess it
sounds a little top heavy.
Depends on how big it is. I mean, obviously, staking is something that we do very commonly with trees. Almost every tree that we get has got a stake in it to kind of keep it straight. So you got to get a stake somewhat close. Don't worry so much about like the root system. A lot of people worry about that, driving a post into the root system. It's fine, y'all. It's going to go right through it. It might sever some roots or whatever, but that's not going to kill your tree or whatever. So if it is bending, obviously, drive a stake in there, pull it back to it, and get it back straight.
And it'll get stronger and stronger as it grows.
Sweet bays are about to be real pretty, y'all. They just started flushing along with regular magnolias, evergreens. They're flushing around town, and boy, they're nice this year.
Yes,
I love
they
a
are.
good sweet bay. Native magnolia, y'all.
Yeah, and a lot of people also have what it's probably is an indication of is it's in a heavier shade environment or on the edge between shade and sun, so it's
Reaching.
maybe growing over that direction and it gets top heavy. There are a lot of people who are maybe their one skill that they're lacking is their ability to prune and maybe do so severely. Now, if you're getting ready to have flowers, you don't want to do it in advance of that. But right after it blooms, you might also consider doing a pretty severe prune, bring that branch structure back in tight. And then that will alleviate quite a lot of it. If it's been several years since you pruned, likely that's it. Maybe we had some event, snow or whatever over the winter that pulled that limb down. So it could be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I need to get out and prune my Jane magnolia. It's very weepy looking right now. It's a big tree, but yeah, the branches are a little bit heavy and growing onto my hydrangeas.
Can't have that.
No, you can't because they're blooming right now. My little snow sickle oak leaf hydrangea is blooming. You can't really see it, so maybe I'll do that.
Well, that plant of any of them needs to be seen.
I can see it.
Oh.
I just walk under the branch and look at it.
Caroline, prune that thing off.
Well, you're only a mailbox and a half tall. Too, so.
I know, 2 bird baths tall. It's crazy. It is wild. We've already touched on this a little bit, plants dying back to the ground and then coming up, but someone is asking about their crepe myrtle only has new growth from the ground. Limbs are mostly bare. Why?
That happened a lot around town this year. Y'all, we got down to 0 for a couple of nights. I mean, and that's chilly for a crepe myrtle, let's be honest. Now, a lot of them are fine and came back from the stems, but a lot of them are not. And they died back totally on top, and they're coming back from the ground. And we've talked about this. It's almost impossible to actually kill a crepe myrtle, okay? So you can make it look 1,000 times better if you just cut off those old dead sticks and let the new stuff form. It'll end up being a 5-foot shrub by the end of the season, and it'll still bloom. So just get rid of the old stuff. Let the new stuff happen. I promise it'll be clean. It'll be green and it'll still flower for you, but you need to just get rid of the old stuff.
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix, featuring Garden Premium Topsoil Blend. This essential mix includes Tennessee subsoil, supernatural organic compost, humic acid, and mycorrhizal fungi to create a truly living soil. Garden topsoil is perfect for establishing raised, edible, and ornamental garden beds, as well as for planting trees, shrubs, and other landscape plants. Bulk and super sack options available. Visit earthmix.net to discover their entire line of soils and amendments and helpful blog posts. Success begins at the ground level when you use EarthMix garden products.
You know what else is wonderful?
What?
Whatever's going to come out of your mouth next.
What's in bloom? With Austin.
Hey, guys. You know what's on my mind
Yeah.
when it comes to blooming, and that's annuals. I'm giving a shout out to the annuals this week. Okay,
Oh.
and I'm going to talk about the goat, and I think I'm gonna raise some eyebrows on this. I think we're going to see. We're going to see.
See what you're gonna say.
So let's talk about.
He's going to say petunias. You know.
No,
he's gonna
you're going to be surprised. Dave. Here we go. Okay, let's talk about some shade annuals. Okay, the classic impatiens. Okay, New Guinea impatiens, which are lovely, y'all. You need to be growing those in the shade because they're fantastic plants. Begonias, classic, old school. Coleus, if you like that foliage color, y'all. Coleus is great. Caladiums for the foliage color, y'all. Who doesn't love caladiums? My God, they are beautiful. I use them in my mixed containers. They're so good, okay? Look, there's ferns of all sorts, y'all. If you just want that classic green, you got a white pot, any kind of pot, doesn't matter. You can use ferns as filler material or just standalones. Ferns are great for the shade, y'all. And then, hey, hypoestis, what do you know about that? It's called
Nothing.
the polka dot plant, okay? There's pink ones, there's kind of reddish ones, there's white ones. I love polka dot plant. It's a really, it is my, like, guilty pleasure. Do what?
Is it spotty?
It is spotty. It is a polka dotty plant. Yes, it is. But it's like my guilty. I got to get a 4-pack or 2 of those every single season. Can't help myself. They are the cutest pink on the planet. Okay, let's move over to the sun. Let's obviously talk about petunias. Y'all know, love me some petunias. Classic, classy, Fantastic. Petunias. Love them. Mine are doing really well right now, okay? Hey, sun patience, if you haven't done those, you ought to try them because they turn into shrubs, and they are just constant bloomers until frost. We got Gomphrena, shout out Ann in the office who turned us on to those.
Good.
Caroline loves her Gomphrena. I do too. They're fantastic. Vinca for the hot spot.
There you go.
Zinnias. Caroline, shout out to you. You
Thank
love
you.
your zinnias.
I
They're
do.
beautiful,
Yes,
okay?
I do.
Celosia, what a cool plant. Coxcomb, people call it. Rooster tails, I've even heard people call it. Hey, very bright colors, very loud. If you're into loud stuff, hey, try some celosia.
Orange.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes.
Oh, orange, yellows,
Oh, yeah.
red foliage of them. Celosia is really, really nice, and they're still cheap. They come in 4-packs. Set them out, y'all. Okay, salvias. There's annuals and perennials of salvia, but those are those blue kind of purplish flowers. Those are fantastic. Marigolds for your vegetable garden. Everybody uses those. Still a very popular annual to grow. Hey, pentas. I saw a cart of pentas yesterday, okay? I don't know if you know this plant or not, but hummingbirds absolutely love them. So if you want a lot of hummingbirds in your yard, grow some pentas. They're great for that. Dahlias, everybody loves dahlia. Big as your head bloom. Fantastic. Another one for the hot spot is lantana, okay?
Yeah.
Lantana is so easy, all right? But I'm going to move on to the goat. The goat. And I'm going to see what y'all think about this, okay? A lot of people call me kind of the grandma around here, all right? I like grandma flowers. I like petunias. I like begonias. And you know what I like the most and the most versatile annual on the planet?
Talk to me.
Geraniums.
There you go.
Hey, I said it. Don't give me that look. I told you were you raise some eyebrows. You're like giving me a scowl. Look.
I'm not even looking at you.
Look, Caroline, geraniums. I'm going to tell you why. Look, is this a grandma plant? It certainly is. But you know what?
betcha.
Shout out to the grandmas because grandma's been growing plants for, 70 years. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And do they still grow geraniums? Of course they do. You know why? Because they'll live in the shade and they'll bloom. They'll live in the sun and they'll bloom. Anywhere on the planet, geraniums will pretty much bloom. Now, if they're in the sun, they need a little more water. If they're in the shade, they need a little less water. So let's just be mindful of that. But when they start blooming, they never stop. Not until frost. It's the easiest plant on the planet to grow, and they're just pretty.
They are pretty.
Let's
I mean,
be
I like
honest.
them. I'm just shocked that you.
I think it's the goat because of versatility and bloom time and ease of growth.
Okay.
I'm going geraniums. I knew you would say something about this.
Still a little shocked.
They're white, they're red, they're pink, they're bicolored. There's leaf
and there's the
colors
ones that have the leaves that are
that are different.
I do
They're
like 'em.
y'all. I'm telling you, like I said,
Also, I'm with you on that.
There he is, David.
Because my grandmother,
See?
speaking of grandmother plants, she grew many, thousands of them. And the point of all the points you made are correct. Now, they're not great if it stays too wet.
That's right.
But beyond that, if you can control the moisture and you give them an adequate amount of sunshine, they can also take a fair amount of shade.
Mm-hmm.
They are outstanding. They do not stop blooming. They're awesome. So
They're
good
awesome.
job on that one. And the one you mentioned just before, if you've got a really hot place, lantanas, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that survives in extreme heat conditions. If it's a planter next to a parking lot where
Or a
the
nuclear
pavement just makes it, they'll do fine. It just
right.
doesn't bother them.
That's right. You know, another thing before we leave geraniums is the deadheading. Okay, look, I love petunias. Don't get me wrong, but boy, they take some work. Okay,
Yes.
and then August comes around, I got to cut them back, got to feed them, all this stuff. Petunias are you know, they're a little needy, and I'm okay with that. I love beauty so much. You are a grandma. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks for that, Joyce. I am a grandma. You know what? I'm taking it. And I love geraniums, but the deadheading on geraniums is so easy. You just pop it. You just pop the whole stem right off, and then you're done. Like that's what's easy. Deadheading petunias, horrible. It's awful. It's not fun. I don't like it. But I
it's
still
worth
do
it for you to
yeah,
grow 'em.
it is. But y'all,
Geraniums feel therapeutic when you're deadheading them.
yes, they just pop. It's so
And
fun to
I
do.
love the fragrance of the foliage and the sap in them when you're handling. I mean, it's a totally splendid experience throughout.
That's right. So Joyce, come on out and buy the goat geraniums. We'll grandma walk around together.
The
Are you
AI
doing
is
geraniums
picking up
this year?
No. That's what I was telling my wife last night. I was like, I'm going to pick a plant that I'm not even growing this year.
I don't think I've ever known you to grow that way.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely. Oh,
well,
certainly.
since I've known you, that's what I'm saying.
No, I've grown it before, yeah.
Not since
you've
I've known you.
Yes, I have.
I don't think so.
I had a nice big pot right out front. I stuck a big old geranium in it, and it bloomed all the way till frost. I did that like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
It was lovely.
All right, Grandma.
Thanks.
Sounds cool.
I'll take it.
I do like geraniums a lot, and I kind of want to grow some.
They're versatile.
They are.
But anyway, y'all, hey, before we leave, there's still a ton of annuals back in the greenhouse, y'all. You need color. You got a spot that's open. You got a pot that you need to fill. Y'all, no.
Lol, everybody.
No.
Laugh
Yeah,
out loud.
y'all, come out and get some annuals. Throw some color out there. We all need color. Loud.
We do. Everybody needs loud color. Yeah.
All right.
That
That's
would
it.
be
I'm
you
done.
as a plant, Grandma. Happy
Hush.
Mother's Day, Grandma. All right, so let's talk about flowering shade plants. You just talked about flowers, but someone is looking for a flowering, low-maintenance ground cover for a bed with part shade.
Okay. I wonder if we're talking annuals. We talking perennials? Ground cover?
I would think for ground cover, maybe perennial, if you can think of one.
Probably perennial.
Bugleweed, that one. I've grown that before.
What a great plant. Ajuga's very versatile, too.
Hellebore?
I've seen Ajuga in full sun and shade, and it does fine. Yes, Josh, your hellebore. What a great ground cover. I mean, it's a little taller than like a right-on-the-ground cover, but still, it stays nice
Great
and low.
filler.
Yeah.
I always want to say Gesundheit when someone says Ajuga. You know, I don't know why.
Yeah. But no, Ajuga's really pretty. I mean, that's a good call on that one. You know what else? What's that one I'm trying to think of? It's got that blue flower. We sell it as an annual a lot, but it's also a perennial in areas it's blue. And I can't think of it at the moment. It'll come to me.
Oh, you're thinking hard. Well, while it comes to you, we did get a live question about geranium, so we'll bring it back around. Mary is asking, can you bring in geraniums over the winter? Will they come back? Asking for an old lady.
Yes, Mary, you can actually. Bring them in the house. You might have to cut them back a little bit. Put them in a window as sunny as you can get, and you're going to get them to overwinter. Like they're an easy house plant too, y'all. We talk about it all the time. Like what you could grow as a house plant is like it seems like almost anything as long as you've got the light for it. I mean, I feel like you could grow boxwood inside if you wanted to. So,
And I have an alternate method for wintering them over that my grandmother used to use. Getting back to the grandma reference,
Grandmas
is
know.
that you take them out of into the, if you have like a root cellar environment or a basement that doesn't freeze but stays cool and dark, you simply move them in there, let them completely dry out, take them out of the pot, and dislodge all the soil and hang them upside down.
What?
Now, you'll only get about half of them survive.
Oh, okay.
But if you have a bunch of them, half could be really good. So my grandmother did
Better
that.
than none.
Tyler.
And you repot them as the weather starts to the days get longer and it starts warming up. It's another thing that is almost a forgotten concept. So consider doing that as you get into the end of the flowering season for your geraniums.
I like the idea of that method. That one's cool. That was interesting.
Wouldn't work in the dining room though. I mean, you don't want to have.
I mean, it could.
Like I said, it needs to be in a root cellar, basement.
Okay.
And most important, it cannot freeze. So, if it
Right.
can stay in the upper 30s, low 40s, it's ideal.
I'm gonna try that. Maybe we'll see.
Give it a go.
I have a lot of plant
Take
projects.
it to your root cellar.
And then Colin on YouTube has said, "It makes me wonder what Austin is going to be like as a grandpa." I would say grandma. Is he going to be a quiet grandpa because he spent it
no.
all in his youth? I doubt it.
Quiet,
Maybe.
Austin.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
You know what's funny about this?
Cantankerous comes to mind.
Yeah.
Is what's funny about this is my mother-in-law commented last week as I do this show or whatever, and it's like she never sees me like this loud, and I'm actually a fairly docile creature whenever I'm not talking about plants. I'm telling y'all, I am.
A docile
It's
creature.
once plants
Docile
get
grandma.
involved, then I get excited. But
Fairly.
like in normal life, I'm pretty chill. Y'all, Tyler.
What is
Sorry.
that compared to? I'm just curious. Anyway,
But anyway, Colin, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out together, man. Whenever we're grandpas, we'll hang out.
We're going to wait until we're grandpas for
Yeah.
that, though. Yeah, wait until that moment. We are getting a lot of comments about the geranium method, David, that your grandmother used. A lot of folks are saying theirs did as well. So that's very cool. Let's bring it
there
back.
you go.
All right, best lilac for our area.
Oh, well. I mean, any of the lilacs we sell really are fine for our area. It just depends on we've talked about this many times. It's got to get cold enough for them to bloom in the spring. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but that's what has to happen. All right, we had a good lilac year this year, so this winter was nice. They had the chilling hours that they needed for them to bloom. Now there is a new one out, and I say newish. It's the Bloomerang series, which is a really nice plant. It's got much different foliage than what you think of with the classic lilac, and it's also got a little bit different bloom as well. But They were excellent this year, and they have some reblooming quality. So a lot of times, as summer draws on and we get a little bit cooler into the fall, they'll throw some reblooms. So, and they still smell
Austin,
fantastic.
I got a question.
What's up?
Does it seem to be more resilient to powdery mildew than the other varieties?
Most certainly. I've noticed that, yes.
That's a big deal right there.
It's a huge deal. Lilacs have big, glossy leaves, for the old school ones anyway do, right. And they can get really loaded with powdery mildew, and it's very evident because those leaves are so kind of velvety that you really notice it. Mm-hmm. On those new Bloomerang series, the leaves are much smaller. There's a lot more leaves, but they're a lot smaller. So even if you do still get a little powdery mildew, it's not as evident because those leaves aren't so big. So, yeah, great point, David. Very much so better with that pathogen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Joyce says, if Austin gets quiet, we need to be worried.
Yeah.
And then our next question is about a hydrangea. Is it okay to use rose tone to fertilize vanilla strawberry hydrangeas?
Yeah, sure. It's not going to hurt anything. I mean, any of the tones, y'all, any of the organic products of those, I mean, it's a lot of marketing on what they target for, say, rose tone, plant tone, tree tone, holly tone, all the stuff. There's only a couple that actually have different things in them, but
holly tone is the one.
Holly
tomato
tone and tomato tone has some calcium in it, I think. The holly tone has some sulfur in it, I believe, David, at a little higher rate. So
exactly, to lower the pH. So.
Yeah, but other than that, rose tone is going to be fine for your hydrangeas. Never hurts to feed with organics. Okay, you're not going to burn.
And like you're saying, they're functionally similar.
Yes,
they're really. If you used any other one on any other thing, it wouldn't do damage. If you use holly tone on something that's not an acid-loving plant, it would lower the pH. But at the levels it does, it probably is not injurious.
No.
So there's no need for you to have a citrus tone, tomato tone. I mean, tomato tone does have calcium in it, but those are since they're organics, the release is so slow that you're not going to exact injury probably on anything. So
yeah,
you're okay to use them.
That's right.
But you're also okay to have every one of them if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, David, just because tomato tone has some added calcium in it, like putting that on other plants is not, I mean, calcium's a macronutrient too. It's very much needed by all plants. So having that extra calcium for any of your plants is probably not going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. Nope. All right. Soil question. How do I prepare clay soil so that I can plant flowers and other plants? What do I use?
Tell them, David.
Well, if clay soil has some very fine particulate nature to it, and because of that, it doesn't allow for percolation. It really impedes the penetration of roots easily into the soil. So you need to do some things that will help to loosen that soil up. And you only have that opportunity when you plant. So if you use a product like Earth Mix Landscape, for instance, it has all the good things into it. Calcium is one of those things that is another product that helps to, it changes the the cation electron ratio. What it means is that it keeps them from repelling and makes them more attractant so that you're able to get water down in there easier. So by doing that, you make the soil friable, and it will stay that way, but as you continue to add organic material to it. One of the common comments I've heard over the years is people talking about, well, I'll put this hardwood mulch out, but it just goes away. It's not going away.
No.
Breaking down and going into your soils. I have seen hard pan clay soils turn into really friable, loamy soils over the course of, say, 8 or 10 years of application. It's amazing what it'll do. So you got to keep working on your soils. Not every, some people are very fortunate and maybe live in a river bottom area, and that's great, but most people don't. So it requires a methodical approach in order to keep working on that soil and improving it.
Mm-hmm. Some say there ain't no cure for the summertime blues, but we say Bates Nursery is. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center is a separate world unto itself. They feature the widest variety of plants, including trees, shrubs, native plants, perennials, houseplants, and specimen evergreens. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with any gardening needs, catering to any experience level. Open year-round, and Caroline, tell them how to get here.
Bates Nursery is located minutes from downtown Nashville off Briley Parkway, exit 19 in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. You'll see it's worth the drive from anywhere. No time to visit the nursery? Shop online with delivery and pickup options available for the greater Middle Tennessee area at www.batesnursery.com.
So if you want to learn a lot about living and a little about love, visit Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
See the question from Lars?
I did not.
Lars says, I'm from Montana, sending good and friendly vibes. How long does pink pony bloom for?
What, the Veronica?
The
Veronica
Veronica.
blooms a long time. I mean, once
Wow.
it starts and it works itself up. If you deadhead it quickly, it might even go longer. But hey, you're in Montana. That's cool.
That is cool.
I don't know if
love
Veronica.
Montana.
Let's see how cold hardy is this? Because what is Montana's zone like?
Probably like
3, 4? I don't know.
Depends on
I
what
don't
is
know.
southern Montana
did-
is a big state and it's very diverse as far as
very
the
big
landscape.
and
too.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Absolutely.
favorite states. I had a white Veronica years ago, and I would cut it back in the summer after it had bloomed, and I would get a reflush.
Yeah. Well, it says it's hardy down to -30. So I don't know where yet in
Oh.
Montana, but it sounds like it'll live there.
It doesn't matter. He'll get to -30 somewhere.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. But it says zone 4 to 8. So
Very good.
if you're in that area, I'd say try it out. But it does have a long bloom time, which is nice. I love
Montana
Veronica.
looks like it's zone 3A to 6B.
So quite a bit of
Depending.
zones.
Western Montana seems much warmer. It looks like northern Montana might be a no-go.
And the worst case scenario is that it gets treated like an annual.
Right.
So
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I
it
mean,
may well have value, even if it's only used, because there's a lot of things that we use here that are not hardy here, that we that are not perennial here, that we use anyway because they just look so nice. But further south, they are a perennial. So
And Lars says that will work.
Yeehaw.
nice. I can
So-
just imagine Lars on a horse riding up to a sunset looking at Veronica.
Yes, Lars.
Riding out to see the
Getting
Veronica
it.
patch.
Yeah, riding up.
Make that Veronica
He's
patch
just-
and send it to
He's
us.
riding fences, checking Veronica. I love it. Lars, get on that horse.
I haven't been there since like 2020, but one day I'll make it back. And while Tyler's starting to pull up photos, we did get a live question in from Kelly on Facebook. Kelly says, OMG, something is pulling up my plants. Thai basil rosemary. Is it a rabbit? It's inside a fence.
Sounds rabbity.
It
or
sounds
squirrely.
rabbity.
Yeah.
Or squirrely.
I have a groundhog that likes to attack my plants.
They'll pull them up.
So cute, though.
I mean, with
I
young
have
plants,
crazy
deer can do it.
robins that do that.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy robins.
All the mammals just after us.
Yeah, birds foraging can do a lot of damage sometimes,
Destroyed-
especially with
destroyed
seedlings.
my-
Sounds like
chickens.
it could be a number. Yeah. Austin's chicken showed up at your house and uprooted your plants.
They would. If you threw them out there, they would. They're annoying little chickens.
Have they messed with your tunias yet?
Yeah, I told you about it. One of them. It's still laying down.
Wait, I don't think you told me about
Yeah,
that.
I did. I brought it up on the show a couple weeks ago, Carol. I don't know how you forget. It was
Well,
the first one in the row.
I'm a little busy bee over here on my laptop.
You are
so-
busy. It was a quick show today, y'all.
Yep.
very quick.
It was.
All right, folks.
Glad everybody tuned in.
Yes.
And we got through quite a lot of questions. I have no idea how many, but it was a bunch.
We
Way
did
more
good.
than last week. So thanks for sending those in and participating on the program.
Yep. Hey, folks, go out there to all the social media sites, like, subscribe, share, do whatever he has to do for that individual site, because we want to. We will come back for you, but we'd like to get as many of our friends in the world joining us on Saturday mornings. Hey, folks, we appreciate you. We love you. Come out here to Bates. It's amazing stuff out here this week. Got to see it. We'll see you next Saturday morning right here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Grandma's come shop geraniums
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.